Introducing team number 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Fighting with Fire here at Phoenix Pro Wrestling. It's tag team time, and it is time for the undefeated streak to meet its greatest test to date as the Annihilation arrives back at Phoenix Pro Wrestling with absolutely zero blemishes on their record, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, all the way back at this Fire Rises, Max Carnage opened up the undefeated streak with a win over Rusty Jack. And ever since then, at Maximum Break, there was the incredible Pool Hall Brawl where the Annihilation and the Architect of Destruction combined for victory in a stunning match against the Beards and Rudy Root. And ever since this Fire Rises, it seems like every single time the Annihilation steps foot in the ring, there is destruction, there is carnage, there is chaos, and there is always victory. And the Annihilation are very much just that, completely undefeated. However, Phoenix Pro Wrestling has gone out and found arguably the greatest and most fluid unit in British Tag Team Wrestling today, and they are ready to step up to the plate. One half you might recognise from a past appearance, of course, that is Mr. Multiversal himself, Alexander Roth on the right, but on the left is his partner as part of the 8-7, big wavy Roy Johnson. For anyone who knows anything about British professional wrestling, the 8-7 are at the top of the mountain in terms of faction warfare, in terms of tag team wrestling, in terms of sheer fluidity and pure tag team mindset. An unstoppable combination. Alexander Roth, always one of the coolest and most dangerous customers in all of professional wrestling, especially alongside the powerhouse, the absolute Leviathan that is big wavy Roy Johnson. And it is really saying something when we can find somebody who can match Max Carnage for power. If anyone can do it, it is of course Roy Johnson, the absolute size of the man. Alexander Roth brings the athleticism, brings the stunning charisma of professional wrestling to your doorstep alongside Big Wavy, of course. The 8-7 are very much the finished article in all of British professional wrestling, but can they be the ones to unseat the Annihilation's tour of destruction here at Phoenix Pro Wrestling? Referee Sean McKenzie will take charge of this tag team matchup.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is a tag team match scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, to my right, ladies and gentlemen, hailing from the Isle of Wight, the combination of the Beast, Axel Chaos, and the Monster of Mayhem, Max Carnage. This is the Annihilation! And ladies and gentlemen, in the corner to my left, hailing from South London, the combination of the powerhouse, big wavy Roy Johnson, and his tag team partner, the Wolf of Wall Street, Alexander Roth. Together they are the 8-7!
Well, tag team warfare is about to erupt here at Phoenix Pro Wrestling, and tag team wrestling has really been led, frankly, under the guise of the destructive duo that is the Monster of Mayhem, Max Carnage, and of course the Beast, Axel Chaos. The Annihilation versus the 8-7 is about to get underway here. And the bell rings, and oh man, and just like that, this match, off we go. And the The Annihilation not wasting any time, jumping the 8-7 right off the gun, and unsurprisingly, they must recognise that this is an extremely dangerous duo, and very much the biggest test to the Annihilation to date. Axel Chaos seems to have isolated Roy Johnson, and meanwhile Max Carnage is trying to deal with Alexander Roth, and things have spilled to the outside already and into the audience, and Alexander Roth looking for a level of camouflage that hasn't been seen on the Isle of Wight for some time, it has to be said. But this is going to be quite a test, as I've said, and ultimately you've got to get these two teams back in the ring first. The referee Sean McKenzie opting not to begin with a count out, because honestly these two teams should really have a bit of leeway, and dare I say, oh my god, the bin just crashed off the back. A big wavy Roy Johnson, and meanwhile Alexander Roth, oh my god, Alexander Roth just met the bin himself. Not exactly a favourable position, and things are getting real ugly real quick, and Sean McKenzie's face kind of says it already. One of bemusement and also shock as well, and need to be very careful when four men with this level of expertise are hovering around within our audience. And well, Alexander Roth, brutal knee lift to the side of the face. Dare I say that might have done just a little bit more damage than a child's lightsaber. Knife edge chop from Alexander Roth. And the two powerhouses seem to have squared off right by Merch, by the way. And well, some of these young fans certainly have zero fear when it comes to the Annihilation. But even the 8-7 will have to be extremely wary and extremely careful as to what they're doing. And well, Alexander Roth says, let's put a hat on it. Of course, as the official voice of Phoenix Pro Wrestling, I can't necessarily say that I can sign off on the idea of fan interaction when it comes to Phoenix Pro Wrestling. I would advise you not to approach our professional wrestlers, ladies and gentlemen, at any point, much less Axel Chaos and Max Carnage, who frankly look like they eat children for a living. And meanwhile, well, things seem to have... Well, some sort of order seems to be restored. Alexander Roth seems to have acquired some popcorn, which is fair enough. I mean, he is a snack, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. Irish whip to Axel Chaos, as Big Wavy and Axel Chaos seem to have found their way back to the squared circle. A lot of power there on display. Big Wavy just deadlifting Axel Chaos and dropping him across the knee with a backbreaker. A pinfall attempt now from Roy Johnson, and Axel Chaos gets his shoulder off the canvas. Yes, indeed. And Alexander Roth recognising the ample talents of ANDMedia here at ringside. Of course, providing all of our media here at Phoenix Pro Wrestling. Alongside, of course, the magnificent, oh my god, beautiful tag team combination for the 8-7. Axel Chaos seems to have been isolated. Very smart, by the way, to isolate the smaller of the two members of the Annihilation. And when we think about all the teams that have tried to knock off the Annihilation thus far, of course, we mentioned the Beards, we mentioned Rudy Root, we mentioned Rusty Jack. Let's not forget the big steppers themselves, Harry McDonald and Ryan Curran. Beautiful, thunderous flying back elbow from Alexander Roth as Mr. Multiversal crashes into the beast, Axel Chaos. Hitting for attempt now, and well, able to shoot his shoulder off the canvas. And there is nothing fancy about what the Annihilation does. They're not wrestlers, let's be honest. They're fighters, they're brawlers. They love a ruckus, and Alexander Roth looking to build some momentum here. Alexander Roth insisting that this audience get behind him, and rightfully so. At the end of the day, one of the most likable characters in all of professional wrestling, but unfortunately took way too long. He gets clotheslined down there out of his boots by the beast Axel Chaos, and that means bad news for Alexander Roth, who's now isolated and has, wow, that was a stiff forearm. Nothing fancy about that. If you're looking for a catcher's can classic, you're not going to get one with the Annihilation, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. They're not technicians, they're fighters, and you saw that right there as he just stuffed his forearm right into Roth again, and Alexander Roth is now in the corner and trying to escape, and the Annihilation are going to have none of that, and this is no man's land as the Monster of Mayhem gets the legal tag and enters this matchup proper for the first time. And now Great agility from a man of his size of 6'8", 400 pounds of Max Carnage. And that was a weigh-in before breakfast. He's probably at about 420 now. I've seen what the man eats. Extremely impressive, to say the very least. Not exactly a traditional all-carb diet. But Roy Johnson, once again, probably doing more damage than he is favour to Alexander Roth. Inadvertently distracting Sean McKenzie. And meanwhile, Max Carnage and Axel Chaos. Oh boy, I think Max Carnage is about to back up the dump truck and just taking a seat on poor Alexander Roth, who's given up a good 200 plus pounds to Max Carnage. Alexander Roth is well put together. Mr. Multiversal, a champion wherever he goes. And of course, last time we saw Alexander Roth, a game-losing effort against Kelly Six inside a steel cage at Free the Phoenix, which is, of course, where the Annihilation also dispatched Dirty South, or the Kapow Tag Team Champions. The Monster of Mayhem just squashes Alexander Roth in the corner and sends him over to the other corner. And, man, Alexander Roth is getting whipped from pillar to post. He has absolutely no idea where he is. Max Carnage is now leveling up Alexander Roth for another one. It just drives his back. Jesus Christ, indeed, says Alexander Roth. And now a humongous sidewalk slam from all 6'8" of the Monster. And Alexander Roth able to escape just before the free count. And despite being Isle of Wight natives, not exactly endearing themselves to their local support are the Annihilation. Now, this crowd are all over the Annihilation, who believe that should have been free. It wasn't. It was a 2 count only, says Mr. Law and Order, Sean McKenzie. Alexander Roth desperately scrambling, trying to get to Roy Johnson, who admittedly is not paying as much attention to his tag partner as maybe he should be. And now Alexander Roth creates some beautiful separation with an enziguri. And now he gets a tag to the powerhouse. Here comes big, wavy Roy Johnson, prepped and ready. Ducks the clothesline, wipes out Axel Chaos off the apron, and now teeing off on the Monster, Max Carnage. And that's where you get a real idea of the size of Max Carnage, because Roy Johnson is a humongous individual, and even he pales in comparison to the shadow of what the Monster of Mayhem, Max Carnage, will project. A big clothesline. Max Carnage barely even shifts, and again, and most people would be damn near decapitated courtesy of a lariato from Roy Johnson, who's now teeing off on Max Carnage, and Carnage tries to create some separation, shoving away Roy Johnson. Alexander Roth is back on the apron. Johnson ducks the clothesline, and big shoulder tackle takes the big man down, unfortunately in his own corner, which means that Roy Johnson is going to struggle to capitalise as he forearms Axel Chaos off of the apron. Well, whatever it takes, I guess. Alexander Roth, if nothing else, trying to get into the head of Axel Chaos, who looks quite bemused by the very prospect of Alexander Roth taking a shot at him. And now the 8-7 do what they do best. Beautiful rising knee lift from Alexander Roth. A splash in the corner for a big wave. He sends Max Carnage in for a big spear, but barely able to take him down to the floor was Alexander Roth. And big wavy Roy Johnson rolling Max Carnage over, and now double up on the pinfall attempt, and still Max Carnage able to kick out and send 500 pounds, the damn near that, of the 8-7 flying away from him. Roy Johnson seems to be, dare I say, lost for ideas here and how to deal with someone of Max Carnage's size. There aren't many people of Max Carnage's better. Oh man, I tell you what, Roy Johnson, an extremely impressive powerlifter, but even he's going to struggle to get this level of dead weight up in the air. Axel Chaos berating Big Wavy, by the way, for the apron, saying all show, no go. And now, wow, look at that power. Humongous scoop slam as Max Carnage just dumps 280 pounds plus of pure 8-7 protein to the floor. Well, Alexander Roth has perched on the top rope with me. Oh, look out, and I think, oh man, that is a malfunction at a junction, to say the very least. I believe that Alexander Roth was looking to wipe out Max Carnage, and instead has just wiped out Roy Johnson. And it's another mistake for the 8-7, and dare I say, those have been racking up in recent weeks across a number of promotions, and the tensions certainly are flaring between Roy Johnson and Alexander Ruff. He gets wiped off of the apron, courtesy of Max Carnage, and Roy Johnson is left to his own devices with no one to tag, courtesy of that error from Alexander Ruff. And now Roy Johnson finds himself, after the tag, being caught flush by Axel Chaos. Tilt-a-whirl backbreaker incoming. I do believe the Annihilation have had enough of this game. A massive lariat right to the face. Roy Johnson wiped out. And now, just like that, that's a free count, I believe. Yes, it is. The Annihilation knock off the 8-7. It wasn't pretty, let's be honest. It was pretty ugly. But ultimately, the Annihilation don't really care. They're all about winning ugly, and that's just what they've done.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this tag team match, the Annihilation!
Well, the Annihilation continue the undefeated streak here at Phoenix Pro Wrestling. Their arms are raised, and whether you like it or not, the Annihilation remain undefeated, and nobody is yet to unlock the conundrum that is Axel Chaos and Max Carnage. Little photo op of Alexander Ruff. I think that pretty much says it all, really. Alexander Ruff, not impressed with what he's seen. The Annihilation, though, roll on once again here at Phoenix, remaining undefeated.